You people able to see my screen, right? Sorry, I was in mute. Okay. You people able to see my screen, right? Yeah. Fine. So in our previous sessions, we have learned about the let constant and what are the things. We have learned about this let thing, and also the constant thing. We have learned it. Variable hoisting, we have seen how the let behaves in the variable hoisting very different ways we have seen. And the main thing we have seen is the arrow functions. So these are all the different types of things that we have seen. Okay, so these are the things that we have learned in our previous class. So about the let constant, these are things. Right, today we'll learn about the another implementation. Let's try to make it like this. So these are things we have learned. Now let's try to see how the objects will be declared here in the ES6. So what are the changes that we can use this for object declaration? Let's try to see. Now, so first, let's say that we have an object. So let's say that so we'll be having an object, right? So normally we'll be having a object. So functions also we have seen, right? Functions also we have seen. There is nothing but the how we can pass these arguments, the default parameters, how we can pass these default arguments. These are all the things we have learned. So now in this concept, we will learn about the objects and how we can represent these objects in the ECMAScript. So in that ECMAScript, so how these objects behave, let's try to see. And also in this ECMAScript objects, there are some new additions for declaring an object, how we can do it. So let's try to see that object implementation. So normal basic object implementation. Let's try to see normally in the previous things how we have did it. Let's say that we have an object. Let's say so it is something like name of type Leela. So normally we'll be having this one, right? So age 30. If you try to see this object thing, so this is our normal object. Now if you try to see the console.log of object, so this is the old way of representing an object, creating an object. Now if you try to see this object, so how we will try to so if you see the output, so this one will look like age 30 and this one like this. Now I will try to show you some another representation of this one. For example, let's say that I have a variables something like let name is equal to Leela. Okay, so the same values what the objects are having, I'm having in a variables. Okay, so let's say that we will be having a 30. Sorry, it's a variable, right? So I have represented it like this. Now normally this name and the variable value of this name is one and the same, equal only. So what I can do here, I can represent it this like this name, and also age is nothing but here only, so I can represent it like this name. Now here what it is having, the name key is representing the variable which is having a value of Leela, and age property is representing the age variable which is having value of 30. Now if you try to see the output, so we are able to see the output same thing only. So this is nowhere. So this one in the old JavaScript also we can able to implement like this one. But in our new edition, what we can do is, now we know that property and the value are equal. So both are having the same. So with the representation is the same. So what you can do is, so we can remove that one and you can implement basically like this. Now name and age. Now what it will try to do is, if it doesn't have a value, the property, if the property doesn't have a value, right side column right side, if it doesn't have means, it will search for the same property variable name with the variable name, whether the value is existing, with whether a variable is existing or not. If it is existing means it will try to do the name and it will try to assign the value to it. Now if you try to see the output, the same output we are able to get it. So this is another way of representing the object. So now if you want to have a function, so for example, let's say that if you want to implement a function, so you can also implement it something like this. Normally you'll implement like this, right? So console.log of so hello world, like this we'll be implementing. Now in the ECMAScript or in the latest JavaScript, you can also do something like hello, or otherwise something like, for example, let's say that if you want to use this one, this dot name, so you can use like this, and this dot age. So this is normally. So if I try to call this function, how can I call? So object dot hello, I will be calling like this, right? So this is consoling. Okay, fine. If I try to output, so here I'm able to see Leela 30 like this. So this is the object I am trying to print the object, and here we are able to see the output. So now we can also represent, we can remove these all functions, and I can keep it like this directly. Hello square bracket, and this is the console.log. If I try to see the output again, then also I'm able to see the same output. Okay. So like this we can represent the functions and also the properties. So properties and the functions which are having the same name, we can use it like, for example, let's say that let hello function. Okay, I am having the function name, the function name itself I am having it like this. So this function name, so the name of the function I am having it in a variable, so I can represent like this also. So square brackets, I can use it like this. Okay, now if you try to see the output, then also I will be able to get the same output. So here when you represent this one as square bracket, the hello function, it will try to search for the variable name, so whether any variable is existing with this name or not. Now it is existing, so now it will try to assign this one. So this is nothing but it will be something like this only. Okay, now if you want to call here, you can also call in a such a way that I can use it like this, and I can use hello function. Okay, the previously we used to call it, right? So Leela that I am able to see it. Or otherwise you can call it like this also, hello. So like this also you can call it. So these are all the different ways of implementing the what I can say is implementing this object notation. Now for example, let's say that I am having a age field. Age field is equal to age. Okay, now here we are having this age, right? So this age property name is represented in the variable age field, and the value of that one is represented in the age. Now what I can do here, so I can do something like age field, okay, colon age. So I can write it like this. Now this property also became dynamic. It will search for this variable name, and the value is also a variable. Now if you try to see the output, then also you'll get the same output only. So this is how we will be implementing the different different scenarios. So these are all the things. So object we can play around and we can do. So now what we have did, first thing what you need to understand is, so don't get confused with the objects thing. So there are so many options I have written here. Don't get confused. So just one thing you need to understand is, so we have an object. Okay, so normally we will write name as Leela and age as 10. Okay, so one thing just remember, so try to remember the one thing, that name, and here we can give the property variable name, so that it will have this variable name. Okay, now if you try to see the output, same thing. Okay, we are not printing. Okay, now if we try to see the output, we are able to see age 30 and name Leela. Now we know that property and the value are one and the same. So property and the representation of this property and the value is one and the same means, so you can remove this one. So if it is different means, then you need to mention it with the colon only. If it is same only, you need to do it like this. Okay, so I'm telling you that shorthand notation, that if the name and if the property name and the variable name we are having is one and the same means, you can do it like this. So this is the one of the main thing you need to understand. And also the object implementation, so you are able to, function implementation, so you are able to understand this one also. So this is also another way, so don't get confused with this one. And also one thing is, so instead of having this variable, so you are having hello, if this hello function name is dynamic, it is coming from somewhere means, so you need to mention it in the square brackets. So already we have seen about that one in the objects while we are discussing about the objects. If you are having any dynamic field or anything means, we need to mention it in the square brackets. I have already told you. Now you can mention it in the hello function like this. Now if you try to do, so the same thing it will happen. Okay, the same thing it will happen. So that is the thing you need to understand. So it's nothing what I can say is magic in this one. It's a very simple thing. So these are the things that you should remember what has been introduced in the objects. So new things means the new way of representation, new way of declaring. If you want to use the old methodology, okay, fine. So this will give you somewhat code, what I can say is code reusability or something like this. You'll be able to get it. So that is the only thing what I can tell you. So next we will try to learn about the rest operator. Okay, so what is this rest operator? Let's try to see it. So now if I try to tell you about the rest operator, so normally we don't use the rest operator very much, but I will try to explain you about this rest operator. So for example, let's say that let's say that what is the example I can take is let's say I'm removing this one. Now I am taking a function, okay, sum, add or anything. So it will take a sum and it will take an array. Okay, normally how you will sum all the arrays? Let's say that blindly let result is equal to 0, and I will loop over this one. Let I is equal to 0, I less than array dot length. Okay, and I can use something like I plus plus, and here you will be able to see result plus is equal to array. So this is normal thing, and I will try to return the result. So you will be able to see it like this, right? Now this is the result. Now if I want to call this one, so console.log sum of, so what I need to pass, it is taking an array. So what I can do here, so 10 comma 20 comma 30 I am trying to pass it. Okay, so 10 comma 20 comma 30 I will try to pass it. Now what will be the output? Let's try to see. If I try to see the output, 10 comma 20 comma 30, so what is the thing it is having here? Okay, sorry, I am trying to do something like this one, right? Array of I. Okay, let's try to see the output. So we are able to get the output as 60. So now we are able to see the output as 60. Now what is the thing we are trying to pass it? Here we are trying to pass an array, and this function is trying to take the array, and it is looping over through this array, and it is returning the result such that each element is adding one by one. This is a simple one. Now what I want to do is, instead of passing this one as an array, I will pass it something like 20 comma 30, so like this, as a list. Now if I try to see the output, what could be the output? I am getting it as 0. Why? Because this is expecting an array. Normally what I can do here in our previous things, what we can do, so we can get these all the arguments using these arguments. Okay, so these are all the arguments. You will be getting it as an arguments dot length, and here you can use this arguments, arguments of I, and if you try to see the output, then also you'll be able to get the same output. So this arguments thing we have seen about in the built-in methods for the functions. So this is one way. So we will get all the arguments, what are the arguments that are passed to this, and we'll convert it to arguments, will convert these all the arguments into an array. So that is one thing. That is okay, fine. Now in our ES6 we have a rest operator. So what it will try to do is, so these are all the list operators, whatever the things we are having. So if you try to keep 3 dots here, okay, so if you try to keep 3 dots here, this is called as a rest operator. Now if you try to use this array, okay, so whatever the list operators, whatever the list array 1 10 comma 20 comma 30 and all those things are passed to this function. So these all arguments will be converted into an array by using these 3 dots here. Now if I try to see the output, then also I will be able to get the same thing. So this is how will be. This is called as a rest operator. So this is called as a rest operator. Okay. So normally you use very less. So we have other options also in this one. Just I want to explain you. I am explaining to you. I told you other options also how we can do using the arguments and all those things. But you don't know what are the arguments that are passing to this function, and you want to convert it in array means. So we can use the 3 dots like this and the variable name, and this variable name will capture all the arguments and it will convert it in array so that you can use this variable. So this is one. This is the called as an rest operator in the ECMAScript. And another one what I want to explain is the spread operator. So this is one of the important thing which I want to explain it to you. So for example, let's say that, so this 3 dots operator only will behave in a different ways. For example, let's say that I am having a array. Let's take it as an array where numbers is equal to let's say I'm having 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5. Okay, so try to understand these all things, so then only you will understand it. very somewhat it will be a little bit confusing. So while we are using in the real time, you will be able to understand it. So for example, let's say that I'm having a numbers of array. I'm trying to do the console.log math.max. So that means, for example, let's say that remove this one. So now math.max of, I want to use this math.max of, I want to find a maximum value out of this list of values. For example, let's say that I'm having like this, okay, in bit. So now what is the maximum value in this one? So if I try to output this one, you'll get a 6. So this is the maximum value. For example, in between this one, if you are having 10 like this, now if you try to see the output, now you got the 10 as an output. So that means math.max takes the series of values, okay, list of values, so that the comma oriented values, okay, list of values we'll call it as, and it will try to find these all the from the list of values whatever is the maximum value. So that is fine. So the thing is nothing but here it is passing, we are passing it as a comma oriented thing. Now let's say that I am using the same numbers here and I am trying to find the values. Okay, now let's try to see out of this one, so which is the maximum value I want to find it. So I will try to keep the 10 also. Now if you try to see the run, you are getting nan. So what is the reason we are getting? Here I have told you that math.max takes the list of values. So that means comma oriented values is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 list of values. But here, whereas here we are passing is an array. Okay. Now what I can do here? So now it is called as a spread operator. Now what I want to do? I want to spread these all the values as a list. So what I can do here is I can use the 3 dots here. Now these all the things will be converted as a comma oriented thing. See, now it is able to find it. So here, for example, if I try to print something like console.log numbers, okay, and if I try to see output, so here you will be able to see a series of values. Now here you need to understand that when you use the dot in a function argument, okay, it will convert comma oriented. So that is nothing but a list thing to array. Okay, whereas if you use it outside, this dot instead of using in the function argument, if you are using outside means, so it is converting vice versa. So array into list. Okay, so here in the previous thing we have seen, right? So it is converting, for example, let's say that function I have already shown you. So just I will try to this is somewhat confusing, not confusing. So same thing when we are using in a different perspective, it will behave as a different thing. Now if I try to use this console.log of array, now I am using it here it as an spread operator and trying to pass something like add of 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40. So here I am passing these all the things as a list. So now if you try to see the output, so now here it is converted into as array, whereas here in the function it is converting it into an array. Now whereas, so the same thing, so same thing, if you are having this 10 comma 20 comma 30 comma 40, okay, now if I try to do the same thing, console.log of dot array, okay, same thing when I am trying to use it outside, it is converting into a list. Okay, so that is a thing we do. So here we call it as a rest operator we call it as, here we call it as a spread operator. So whenever we are trying to, whenever in the real time some people some seniors tell that I try to apply the spread operator means, then you need to do it like this. Try to use this rest operator means like this. So this is the difference between the rest and the spread operator. Okay, so these are called as in rest and spread operators. Now so where we are in the spread operator, right? So I have shown you about the spread operator in the math.max, how it has behaved. Now I will try to show you the spread operator, how it will behave in the objects. Okay, let's say that we are having var numbers. So in the arrays I am trying to show you. So this is an array. Okay, so now if I try to do console.log three dots you will be having, not 2 dots. Okay, 3 dots numbers 1 2 3 4 5 you will be having. Okay, now in the same scenario, now let's say that let's take an object. So we have understood about this arrays thing. Let's try to take the object. So this object will be little bit different. So not different. Let's take an object. Okay, I'm having a name of type Leela. So I will not confuse you. Let's take of 9. Let's take name as Leela and age as 30. Okay. So this is a one object, and I will. So you can keep it as let also, not a problem. So don't think otherwise. So I am having another object, and here also I am using name as something like Krishna or anything, any name I want to use it. So age of 10. Okay. So these are the two objects I have. Now I want to merge these two objects. So merge these two objects. So combine these two objects, and I want to print the result object. So what will be the object? Now here, let's say that. So when we are combining object with this one, okay. So name is matching, right? So now it needs to take the latest one, Krishna. So now it should be updated with the Krishna. Now age is also having matching. Then it should be updated like this one. So now how can you do this one? So how we can do is, so I will try to explain you. Now first what I will try to do is console.log. Okay, first this one is an object. So now I want to convert it into a list. Okay, so I will convert it into a list. So obj. So now these all the properties and values will be converted into a list. Now I want to convert this obj1 also into a list. So now here I will convert this obj also into a list. Now I want to merge these two objects, right? Now I want to convert this to an object. Now I can use a flower brackets like this. Now these two are combined. Now let's try to see the output. Now here see, now we got an output of Krishna and 10. So these two are matched. For example, if I try to use it first this one and here, okay. Now if I try to see the output, see now these two are merged. So this one is taken, whatever the first one is there, it is taken as the priority. Sorry, second one is there, it is taken as the priority, and these values will be overridden. For example, let's say that here I am having gender. Okay, I am having a gender. Now let's try to see the output. Now what could be the output here? So name is there. So first one is an obj1, right? Name is there. Okay, both of them are having the same properties. So last one is this one, obj. So last declared is the obj. So I will take the Leela as the final output. Age is there. Okay, both are conflicting. So I will take the latest one. So whichever appeared at the last one. So 30. Now gender, if I try to check, gender is not matching. So it will take the gender as it is. No conflicts is there, right? So this will take the property as it is. Now if you try to see the output, see. Now for example, let's say that here we are having another thing, something like cricket, any other property we are having. So which these two properties doesn't exist in the two objects. So this property is individual here, and this property is individual to this object only. Now if you try to see the output here, so both the objects has been combined, and here depending on the last one what has been mentioned, if the conflict raises means, so those name will be taken as the priority, and the age, both of them are conflicting. Because of that reason, the last obj is taken as the priority, and gender and hobbies, these are not conflicting. So these are different in these two objects. So both of them has been merged here. So this is how the spread operator works in the object. Okay, so in the arrays we have seen, and also in the object. So if you want to merge the two objects, we can use it. We can use this spread operator like this. So this will be a little bit confusing, but this is the most often we will be using in the real time. Now this is about the spread operator. So how to use this spread operator in the this is the most often we'll be using. Rest operator we don't use it more often, but the spread operator on the objects and arrays we'll be using more often. This is about the spread operator. Now let's move on to this another thing, that is nothing but for loops. So for loops, what are the things that has been introduced in this what I can say in this ECMAScript. So let's say that first we'll try to use this on the array. I'm having a numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now if I want to loop over this one, normal traditional way is let I is equal to 0. That is the traditional way. So there is no problem in that one. You can use it without any problem. Now we have a shortest form representation of this one also. So for let number, and we can use of numbers. Okay. I don't know if I already told you, so I'm trying to explain you again. So you can use this number directly. So now if you try to use this output, so here we are able to loop over all the values. And for looping over the objects, we have another thing that is nothing but let obj equal to name and the age of type 20 or 30 something like this. Now this is an object. Now if I want to loop over this object, what I can do is for let, so you will get the key here or the property, whatever the name you want to tell, so you can say it, not a problem. So this one we call it as a key or a property, do anything. Now here I am having an object. Now let's try to do the console.log. Okay, if I try to see the output, so now here I am able to see the properties, the list of all the properties that are available in this object. That is nothing but name and age. If you want to get those values, I can I can use this console.log obj of key. Okay, so I can use it like this. Now I can print the values. So here I am printing name as Leela, age is 30. So now for looping over the arrays, we can use this off thing, and for looping over the object, we can use this in thing. Okay, so this is about this for loops in the ECMAScript 6. So shortest way of representing the array and the object. So this is also one of the concept I want to explain you. And the another thing, so the representation comes is the what I can say, template literals. So let's go on to another concept, that is template literals. What is this template literal? So these names you need to understand it. So template literals, what is this template literals? So template literals is also one of the important concept that was introduced in the ECMAScript 6. So most often, so this one also we will be using more often in the JavaScript. So this one rather than the oldest way of using this one. So this will give you some handy thing, and although some time saving features you will be having. Some readability also we can have it with that one. Let's try, I will try to show you. For example, let's say that let's say that I'll take a variable. Okay, let name is equal to same thing, same output. I will try to take it. I will try to show you the old scenario and also the new scenario, how we can overcome it. So this is the thing I am having. Now I want to frame a text. Okay, frame a text for this one. So normally what I will try to do, hello guys, this is Leela, or otherwise in literal words I will say my name is Leela. Okay, and something, my age is 30. Okay, so I will try to say it like this. Now this is a complete text, sorry, not text, complete text. Now here you'll be able to see that this name and this name I need to replace it with the dynamic variables. How can I replace? Normally what I need to do is I need to do the string concatenation. I can do plus and I can use this name here, and here again I can use this, sorry, I can use something like plus age. Okay, and if I want to use something like this, means old, or so like this. So like this we will be writing. So just I am trying to show you. So here if you try to see, so this is creating somewhat complex. Okay, if I try to console.log text, so you'll be able to get the same output, so without any problem. So you'll be able to get the same output that, so I am able to get the same output, but for framing this text, so we have used such a thing that we have closed this single quotes, and we have used this what I can say is plus concatenation, and these are all the things we have used it. Fine. In ECMAScript 6 we have a new feature that is nothing but template literal. So template literal, this is called as a template literal. So if anybody asks you what is the template literal in ECMAScript 6 means, you need to say like this one. So don't think that template literal means about the templates or something like that. Don't think it more bigger. It's a simple thing only. So for representing the text, what we can do is, so we need to use the backtick operators. Okay, so on the left side of the one key you will be able to see that backtick operators. Now in the backtick operators I can write something like hello, my name is, I will try to show you, my name is Leela, and my age is something like this. I can write it. Okay, 30 years old or something like this. I will try to write. Now let's try to see the text. sorry, I will try to clear it. So here I'm able to see the same text only, but here I need to replace it with the variables. So now for replacing it with the variables, how can I use it is, so here I can use something like dollar, okay, name. I can use it like this, dollar name. So dollar flower bracket open and close. So now here dollar, if you try to implement, so flower bracket means it will take the variable name here. Now here also I can use it something like dollar. What is that on age, right? Yeah. Now if you try to see the output, so you will get see still the same output. If I try to maintain it as 50 years, and if I try to see it, so here you will be able to see the same output. So this is somewhat easier way of implementation, right? So for example, let's say that if you are using the single code, so here if I want to use it like this, double lines, I cannot use it here. So this one is an error. If I try to see the output, gone, error. Why? Because we cannot use the text as a multi-lines, this one. Whereas in the backtick operator, so you can use it so without any problem. So I can use it and I can run it. I can run it and I can get the output without any problem. Okay. So this is how we can do it. So I can run it without any problem. So we can use the multi-line thing also. So you can, how many lines you want to make it, so you can make it without any problem. So you will get an output. So that is not a problem. Now, in our previous thing, so for example, let's say that I will write this. So hello, I am. So if I want to use it like this, now this one got broken. Why? Because I want to use the single quote here in between the single quotes. If I want to use it, I need to use something like backslash operator. So like this I need to use, then only I can able to print the output. So like this we need to use the backslash operators and all those things you need to implement it. Whereas in the template literals, so there is no need to implement those all things. So here I can write in such a way that hello, I can use whatever the things you want. So here, so like this you can use it. Okay. Oh, sorry, for name, right? Yeah. So I can use it like this. So wherever I want to implement it, so like this we can use it. Okay. So this is one of the template literals. So I want to explain you. So hello, I am Leela. This is the one of the important concept. Another thing what I want to do is, so for example, you may be getting a doubt that backtick operators. What about I want to implement these backtick operators in between this one? So if you want to implement backtick operators in between this one, you can need to use the backspace. That is not a problem. And for example, let's say that I want to use dollar name like this only. I want to show it here, the output, instead of converting that one to the variable value, instead of getting that one, I want to convert it into a what I can say, into this one. So what I can do is here what I can do is, so here we are able to get the Leela, right? I can use this backslash operator here. Now the output you will get same as it is like this only. And here if you want to concat anything means, so you can use something like, so like this you can use it. Now for example, if I want to use this exclamatory marks, you can use it without any problem. You will get the output. So like this you can do so many manipulations and all those things. So you can check for the template literals in the ECMAScript 6. You'll be able to find it. Most often we'll be using like this only. So this is about the template literals in the JavaScript. Okay. Now let's try to see about the another concept. That is nothing but what I can say is destructuring of the arrays. Destructuring arrays. Let's try to explain it. I will try to explain it. For example, so we have learned about the rest operator. Okay, spread operator. These all things we have learned it. So I will try to explain you before closing these all things. I will try to explain you about this destructuring of arrays. Destructuring of an array and also an object also we'll try to see. First we'll try to see destructuring an array. Now let's say that I have a something like numbers. Okay, 1, 2. So I am having a numbers 1, 2. So now I want to store this value in one variable. I want to store this value in another variable. Now how can you do this one? Let's say that normally blindly, so without any logic applying, what I will try to do, I will try to take a variable, let a is equal to, so numbers of 0, and I will try to do let b is equal to numbers of 1. Okay, so I have stored successfully, I have did, and I have stored the values something like console.log of A and also console.log of B. If I try to see the output, now I am able to show you the output something like, so A and B values are holding the A and B variables are holding the values of 1 comma 2. So that is not a problem. Now this one is somewhat so this one is a basic thing, right? In ECMAScript we have a feature destructuring the arrays. So that means this is structured, so this is an array structure, so we can destructure this array also. How we can destructure this array is, so now here let's try to keep left hand side also square brackets, that is my array representation, and I can write something like A comma B. Okay, so now here I can use this 1 comma 2. Okay, you can use the variable also, just I'm trying to show you. Now if you try to see the output, now I am able to see the same output. Okay, now here I can use these numbers, and if I try to run the output, see here the same output. So now if you use the square brackets at the right hand side, it will make it as an array, it will structure this all the input to an array. But if you use the same thing in the right hand side, it will destructure the array. It will destructure the array. So for example, let's say that I am having another variable, I am using another variable here, so but here having only 2 values, but here I am using another variable. Now what could be the value of the console.log of C? Now what could be the value here? If you try to see, it's undefined. So as usual, so you people already able to see that if the variable is declared and if it doesn't have any value, obviously it will be an undefined only. Now here what we can do is, we can do one thing. If a value is not assigned anything, means we can assign a default value, something like I can use is equal to, and I can use default value like. So now if a value is not assigned to this one, default will be added to here. Now if I try to see the output, see the value is not assigned anything, so that is the reason a default is assigned. Now if you try to see for this one, B is equal to default 2, if I try to use this default 2, okay, if I try to use this default 2, now what it will try to do, let's try to see. Now here the B is having only 2 value. Why? Because B, in this B, the second value B is represented like this, so it is not a problem. Okay, so this is about this destructuring of the arrays. Now let's say that I will try to show you another example, something like, let's try to make it console.log A B only. Now I am trying to remove this B thing. Okay, now I want to use the same output, so 1 comma 2 we are able to see it. Now let's say that I am having a values of 3 comma 4. Now I will use the spread operator like this. Now what it will try to do, so if I try to use this spread operator like this, what it will try to do? Okay, now here it is destructuring the values. Okay, so whatever the values we are having, it is destructuring. So 1 2 comma 3 comma 4, it is destructuring, so something like 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4, and assigning it to the each variables. Now what I am trying to do here, I am assigning this one value to this A, and remaining all values should be, spread operator means it will be converted, so it will be converted into array, whereas we use it in the function, it will destructure it. So rest operator, it will try to convert it to list, whereas this dot dot dot, it will convert it to array. So now if you try to see the output, so what could be the output here? If you try to see the output, 2 3 comma 4. Okay, now the remaining all will be converted into a 2 3 comma 4. So the combination we need to apply it. So we have applied the spread operator, the combination, the destructuring thing. So this is how we will be using the destructuring of the arrays. And also one thing what I can do is, so here we are able to see, right? So we are converting into this one. So you can ask me that, sir, you have already explained us about the slice and splice thing. So splice means it will cut this all the data from an array, which will take the start. You need to understand these all the things, start and the number of items I want to do it. Whereas the slice, it will just only copy, and start and ending position it will try to take it. Okay, so this is the syntax, you need to remember it. So then if you search in Google also, then you will be able to understand very easily. In interviews they'll ask you immediately. So that basic things, if you try to tell that, okay, slice will try to copy the values, the first one is the start and the second one is an end index, if you try to tell, whereas the splice will cut these all the items from the array, it will mutate the array whereas the first one is the start and the number of items. Like this, if you try to tell, okay, fine, they will convince. At least he knows something like that. Now you able to understand this one, right? So we can use it with the slice and splice operator also, it's not a problem. And also we can use this one, what I can say, what I'm trying to say, we can use this one as a spread operator also. Now I will try to show you another scenario, not a scenario. I'll try to. So for example, let's say that I am having 1 2 comma 3. Now the output of a values is something like 1 and 2. I want this a value to be 1, but b value not to be 2, it should be 3. Okay, so but here the what I can say is the uniformly, the sequentially it will try to assign it. So first letter with the first one, so second variable with the second one. But now I want the second variable to be assigned to the third one. What I can do is here simply I can add a comma here, that's it. Now if you try to see the output, now here I got the thing. If you want another one means you can do it another one. Just I'm trying to show you the scenarios. Okay, so like this. No, again if you try to add the comma means I cannot say this is an undefined. Okay, so that's the thing you already know about these all things. The combination we have seen it. So this is about the destructuring of the arrays in the what I can say, in this destructuring of arrays in the ECMAScript. Now you can ask me that where we actually use this one. Normally what I can say is where we actually use this one is normally in the swapping of the arrays. For example, let's say that not swapping of the variables, it will be very useful. For example, let's say that I am having a let a is equal to 1 and I am having another one as something like let b is equal to 1. Okay, or otherwise b is equal to, why to take two values only. Now what I want to do is my requirement is now write the programming logic in such a way that b should be 1, so the value should be interchanged. So b should be 1 and a should be 2. The basic thing what we can think is we will try to make it an intermediate variable and I will try to assign it to this one, and I will try to do it b is equal to what is that one, so sorry, a is equal to b, and at last I will try to assign b is equal to a, sorry, b is equal to c. Now if we try to do the console.log, so we are taking help of an intermediate variable. So now if I try to do console.log of b, so this is the basic thing everyone will get in mind. So now I got a value of 2 comma 1, so it's correct. So a is 2, b is 1, so I have interchange, but I took the help of one variable. By using this destructuring arrays we can do it very easily. For example, let's say that I can use something like b comma a is equal to a comma b, that's it. Now what will be the output for this one? Then also same thing, so a is 2 and b is 1. What is that here having? So try to memorize these things what we have learned it. So what are the things we have learned? So first the two variables I have converted into an array, whereas the left hand side if you try to use these square brackets again, so it will not form as an array, it will destructure the array. That means it will split this array as a list and it will assign the each value into this one. So now a value first one is the one thing, so it will assign to the b values is like this, it will be assigned. So like swapping of these things, so these things will be very useful. So that is about the destructuring of the arrays. So another one what I want to tell you is last one I will tell you, so you will be getting confused. So then we'll talk about the classes. I don't want to confuse you, these all the things, but these are very important, so we'll be using so much very often in these things. Now let's say that I have an object, destructuring of an object, right? So we are trying to learn about the destructuring of an object. One second. So I have an object, let's say, so name, the same thing, I will try to use the same thing only, don't get confused. Okay, I have an object, I will try to destructure this object. So that means the name variable, I need to have a variable something like let name is equal to, so I want to do it like this. So I want to destructure this one. Okay, so I want to assign these values into their variables. So I need to create a variables and I need to assign these valuables like this. So this is the output I want to get. So normally the blindly what you can do is object.name and also object.age. So this is valid one only, it's not a problem. But I want to show you destructuring. Now let's say that destructuring we have learned it, right? So I can use something like name and age. Okay, and I can use this object like this. Let's try to see the output. What will happen? Console.log of name, console.log of age. So then this is the syntax what we have learned. So right side, so if you try to do, it will destructure so that the name will have this one, that name of this one, and age will have like this. This is the concept we have learned it, right? Now let's try to see the output. See, we got an error that object is not iterable. So this is iterables is a different concept in the ECMAScript thing. So now object is not an iterable. So arrays are iterables. Object is not iterables. Iterables are iterables, whatever the name it may be. Try to understand it. Now what you need to do is, so here when you are destructuring an object, you need to use the flower bracket. Okay. So now if you try to use here, you will be able to get that one. Okay. Now let's say that I have a function. Okay, you know, right? So function implementation, you can use it like this or anywhere you can use it. I am using a console.log of hello. Now what I want to do is, so I want to add this one here. So I can use it hello here. Now the same name I am trying to use it. Okay, I will try to call this hello. So I can use it like this directly. Now this variable is nothing but an function, right? So now here if I try to use it, what has happened? Let's try to see the output. So now here we are able to see the hello. So now we are able to see this hello, right? The same thing. So now let's say that so we are able to get this output, right? So for example, let's say that, so you have removed this one like this. Okay, you have removed this one like this. Now if you try to see the output, so will you able to get this one? So for example, let's say that age is having in the middle of the thing, right? So you will be thinking something like we have used the previous thing like arrays. So age is having like this. The third one is an hello. So that's why we have mentioned it as an hello. So we need to mention it in the third place. Now I have kept a comma. So will this one work? Let's try to see the output. Maybe you will be thinking like this. Then also I am getting an error that unexpected token comma like this. So here it will not take the sequential manner. It will match the name with this name only. So here you need to understand the property name with the variable name only, it should match. So now hello, it is matching with this one. Now if I try to run it, so you will get an output without any problem. So this is the difference. You need to understand it when you come to this object destructuring. So here, what is the thing you are having? So you can mention it here, vice versa also you can do it, not a problem. Okay, but it will match the property name with this property name. Here if I try to mention it, so I will try to mention it like this, older way of representation. Now here we try to see hello is a property, so hello is the variable name, so it will match this property and it will add it to this one directly. Now if you try to see the output, you will be able to get the same output. Name is the property and name is the property having, name is the variable, so it will try to add the both things. Okay, it will try to do it. So now you will be able to get the name also, you will be able to get it. Now you may be getting a doubt that I don't want this hello to be added same thing like this. So I want to change here to welcome. Okay, so I want to change the name to welcome, but I need to take this hello property value into this one. Then you can use something like this. So you please take the property of this one hello and assign it to this variable welcome. Now if you try to see the output, now I am able to see the same output. Now let's try to do this hello, whether this hello will be there or not. Now if you try to see the hello, you get an error that hello is not defined. Now why? Because this is taking the hello property in you are telling that take the hello property from this object and assign it to the welcome variable. Now there will be no hello. So defaultly if you are mentioning like this means nothing but you are mentioning it like this only. Okay, this is the short form. So now you will be telling it like this. So take the hello property and assign it to the welcome variable you are saying. So this is all about the destructuring of the objects. I don't want to go deeper into this one. So this is the concept that I want to explain you. So next what we'll try to learn is about the classes. So JavaScript classes. I don't want to continue, so he will be getting confused. I think these all the concepts itself is a very little bit of confusing. Today what we have learned, let's revise these all things. So today we have learned about the objects declaration. Okay, the older way and also the newer way. Newer way means nothing but the property names. So property names with the variable names. So there is no need to mention it like this. So we can directly mention like this, so that the property will be hello, and also the value will search for the same variable name. Same variable name, it will search it. So that is the thing. And also the function representation also we have learned it. And another one what I want to tell you is the rest operator. So rest operator means when you use this dot 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 in the functions, in functions. So how this dot 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 behaves in the functions. It will convert the list to an array there. So next we have learned about the spread operator. Okay, so this is also one of the important thing. Spread operator we have learned it. Okay, splitting these all the arrays or object into a list. So we have used this one, splitting array, and also object also we have seen it into list. Okay, now another one is that is the thing we have learned it, for loops, for off and for in. We have learned about this for off and for in. Okay, so try to spread operator we will use more often for the objects. So these things we have learned it, right? So these things, so like this, keeping obj comma obj, so like this obj. So we all the time we used to do this one. Okay, next one is the another important thing, template literals. Okay, so next one is destructuring of the arrays. When you use the square brackets right hand side, how it will become destructuring the arrays. And another one we have learned, destructuring objects. So that's it. So these are the things that we have learned it. Okay, so these are very important. So if you try to see ES6 features or something like this, I don't know whether we'll be able to see it or not. Let and const we have learned, arrow functions we have learned, multi-line strings is nothing but template literals we have learned, multi-line strings is like default parameters we have seen it, destructuring assignment we have seen it, promises I will try to explain you. I don't know whether we will be able to see it or not here. So these are the main things only. So these are all things you have learned. Multi-line strings, these are backtick operators which we have implemented. I have shown you in the template literals. Default parameters I have shown you. Template literals I have shown you, dollar of this one. Destructuring assignment a comma b, this one also I have shown you. Okay, array destructuring, array object destructuring also I have shown you. Object, so this one is nothing but, so this one is an object. So how we will be mentioning an object? Manufacturer, so variable name value it will take you, it is an object literals, they are calling it as an object literals. Okay, fine. So remember that name. I don't know, this one is a name, we'll call it as an object literals or not. So new enhanced object declaration thing. So we can make it easily to quickly create objects with properties inside the curly braces. That's it. Promises I will try to explain you. Classes, these things are different concept. So modules is also a different concept. So these are all the things, main things that I have explained you. So these are the main things that are there in the classes. Tomorrow session we'll learn about the classes, promises, these are all things we'll try to learn. So these are different things. If you try to see about the ES6 features, so these things only will be there, most of the things. Okay, rest operator. So here you'll be able to see things. So these are so many things is there. So I will not explain those all the things. So try to read, so you'll understand it. Okay, if you practice only, you will understand. So then, or otherwise, if you don't practice it, we will not use this one more often. Okay, we cannot use this one more often. In tomorrow's session we'll learn about the classes, the oops thing, so how we can do this oops thing, so inheritance, static methods, these all things you'll see how we can implement that one in our JavaScript. And also you'll see about the promises. Okay.